Mom is gone, but she's still alive. I lost my mother twice. Hello everyone. Thank you for tuning into my channel. My name is Granny May. I'm sorry that I'm not showing my face. This video is a bit emotional for me. Not a bit, it's very emotional for me. My mom was slipping away slowly. Physically she was there, but she was mentally slipping away. I would go home every year. Most of the time it would be end of the year, December. Mom was not okay. They call this disease dementia. The long goodbye. You don't lose someone at once. You lose them in small pieces, day by day, memory by memory. You find her slipping away. These were incredibly hard days for me. Frustration, heartbreak, watching her forget the people that she loved so much. But you could still see the love in her eyes. I went home one year. I went home one year. Mom did not remember me. After a few minutes, she remembered me and she says, "Oh, my child. Goodness, how come I'm forgetting my children?" You know, that was so painful. That was the beginning of the mind slipping away. I stayed for 3 weeks. I stayed with her. Now it's time for me to leave. Hey, she didn't want me to go. She didn't want me to leave. She says, you must stay. I'm feeling sick. And I said to her, you're not sick. I can see you're not sick. I laughed at her. And I said, you're not sick, Mommy, I'm going. And I left. If only I had stayed. If only I had told her how much I love her. That was the last chat. The last goodbye. But I didn't know it was the last at that time. Well, I left. Mom was getting weaker and weaker. She had diabetes. So as a family, we decided, Mommy's not okay. And she's living with my brother who is male. So we decided that, no, Mom better go live with my sister. So my sister would call and says, Mommy's giving me problems. She wants to go home. So I said, I'm going to come. I'll come and look after Mommy for about 3 weeks or so. So I left Joburg. How depressing. Mom forgot me. Well, I bathed her. I gave her food. We slept together. And Mom was like a baby. I remember the days before she had this memory loss. When I get home, would lie on her bed in the evening because I used to sleep with her. Would chat until late in the night. And then I'll say, Mommy, let's sleep. The witches want to do their job. And then early in the morning, we'd wake up and we start chatting again. We'll talk and talk. Yeah. But now, she just looked at me like I was a stranger. I would really try to chat about the memories that we had. Nothing. She would be blank. It's like I'm talking to a total stranger. She kept asking me why her mother and her father are not coming to see her. Why they're not coming to visit her. And she thought she was in hospital all that time. She thought she was in hospital, and I would say to her, no, you are not in hospital. You are at home. You are in your bedroom. This is not a hospital. She would be shocked that she's at home. But she couldn't recognize anything. I would point out things. Do you remember this? Do you remember that? No, she remembered nothing. And she kept on asking me, when is she going home? I asked her to describe the home that she's talking about. Ah, to my surprise, she described a place that I don't even know. So one day, my aunt was there. And I described exactly what mommy was saying to me. And auntie says to me, no, she's describing the house that she had 50 years ago. She doesn't remember yesterday, but she remembers 50 years ago. It's now time for me to go back to Joburg. My sister came and she took mom back, to her house because she was now living with my sister. So I decided I will rest, after looking after mom, my body was tired, lifting her onto the toilet and helping her. And I could hardly sleep because every time she wants to use the toilet, I must wake up and help her to use the toilet. And she was actually using the toilet. We had a little 20-liter bucket. So she would use the toilet wee in that 20-liter bucket, because she couldn't walk so, fast. So it would be difficult to take her to the toilet. So the next day, I said, I was going to leave, have a rest and then leave the next day. I rested that day. Early in the morning of the day I was supposed to rest, my sister called me. She says, ooh, something is wrong. You better come. Let's meet at the clinic. She took mommy to a private clinic. Mommy's sugar was low. So I went to the clinic quickly and I got there before her. They quickly took her and put her in I don't know whether it's an emergency room or whatever you call it, but they gave her an injection. I'm telling you, that wait was long. It felt like a long time, but it was just a few minutes. The silence, everybody was just quiet, and the silence was killing me. And then I heard the sister saying, go. And then she answered, eh? Oh, what a sigh of relief. When you tense, your whole body is tense. You don't even know what to think. It's like you're not there. Yeah, it felt like hours and hours. And then they finally admitted her. The next day we went to visit her. We went to visit her. She was in high spirits. Baby. She was asking a lot of questions. Is it raining outside? Did you finish plowing her field? The field that she's talking about, the field that she had 50 years ago. I don't know where the memory of the field was coming from, but I was shocked. She suddenly just said, the person who's deciding to go or who wants to go, please don't go until I come out of hospital. That really shocked me. I said, so she knows that I'm here. My heart, I got a little bit excited. Say, maybe for a split second there, she knows that I'm there. But maybe she didn't actually know exactly who it is, but she knows I'm there. Finally, she gets discharged. I go spend the night with her there by my sister's house. We spend the night together. I look at her in her eyes and I say, Mom, it's me. She says, you who? I tell her, Mommy, I'm your child. She says, no, you're not. I felt like someone had pulled my heart out of my, chest. Anyway, we spent the night together. We slept. The next morning, I had to leave. I looked at her and I said, goodbye, Mommy. Bye-bye. And she just says to me, bye. Just bye. Not the usual bye that I usually get from her. She was looking so frail. I asked myself, hey, am I going to see my mother again? I kissed her and I left. Mom was 94 years old. My sister called. That was like, when I went home, it was April. May, June, July, and August on the 20th. My sister called. Mom is not feeling okay. We said, what's wrong? She says, she's just sick. I don't know what's wrong with her. So we thought, well, it's the usual, the sugar diabetes. She took mommy to the doctor. And then the doctor just gave her some meds. And then after giving her some meds, she told her to go home. She went back home. At around 5 o'clock that very same day, we get another call from my sister. Hey, mommy's breathing funny. I'm scared. Mommy's breathing funny. So we say, take her to hospital. So she took her to hospital, to the private clinic again. So we kept checking up on her. She had been admitted. And then early hours of the morning on the 21st, we get a message. Mommy's gone. She finally passed away. The grief was heavy, but it brought a quiet sense of peace. The long goodbye was over. The mind was free, and the pain was gone. We traveled back home for the funeral. What a painful feeling to lose your mother for the second time. This was for the second time. Remember the first time we lost her because her memory took her. Now she's passed away. We're losing her for the second time. Guys, this is a very, very, very painful feeling. Very painful. I can't even put my face on video because I'm afraid that if I look at myself on the video, I will break down. But anyway, her mind was free. Her pain is now gone. Time for the funeral. Yeah, that's it, guys. Mommy is gone. We traveled back home for the funeral. Everything went well. Mommy was buried. She's gone. Thank you for watching and sharing with me my journey with my mother's dementia. And this is dementia. And most people don't know about dementia. What I've realized, a lot of black families, they don't know that there's something called dementia. I saw somewhere, I'm not going to mention which country, but there was this old lady who was walking in the streets in the early hours of the morning. And she was half naked. And you could see that she didn't know where she was. She was confused. And people called her a witch. Those years, I just walked past and I did nothing. But only now, I'm realizing, no man, that old granny that I saw that day, she looked confused. She must have had dementia. She must have slipped out of the house and wandered into the road. And I say to people who have family members that have dementia, make sure you've got a gate. Make sure if they can walk, make sure you've got a gate. Or otherwise, keep the doors locked. Remove the keys so that they don't wander into the street. Guys, I'm so grateful. Thank you for watching. Please subscribe, share, comment, and I'll meet you in the next one. God bless.